Okay, so I'm going to start here with the Python and VS Code extension. This video that you just watched was from a previous, actually from last semester. And because I already had these things installed locally, I really want this to stand because it is good to walk you through how to install them. And, just to verify that, and I am in VS Code, I have the new terminal window. I've changed my terminal to actually, in this case, reflect Git Bash. You can still use PowerShell. It's really up to you. But just to see that I have Git installed, I see that I do have a fairly new version as well. Okay, but I do not have, and I'll show you this Python, which is what we're going to do now. So Python is not installed on this system, so this is a new install, right? So it's pretty straightforward to install Python. Matter of fact, if you just search Python, I believe that's one of the first ones that comes up is python.org. And if you come down here, and there's a download section here, and it shows the most current version for Windows. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm about to walk through this install. If I get to a place where I want to stop and do a little research, I'll do that. Otherwise, this is actually real in real time happening, meaning as you're watching it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and download 3.9.7, 3.9.7, which looks like we're getting close to version 4, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and install, and I'm going to install for all users. I'm going to add this to my path. Okay, install now. Just going to do the install now. I'm going to go ahead and let it install. So it might take a second here to actually do the install part of this. So what you're doing here is you're placing Python, you're installing. There's actually a little editor that comes with Python as well. I don't typically use it. Last time I taught Python, I did because I was using another course that used the editor. I can't remember what it was called now. Matter of fact, I'll probably see it in a minute. But we're going to be doing our coding in here. So it looks like it's still installing, getting the last part of this done. So we'll just watch this come through. Again, this should be really pretty straightforward installing Python. It's really, once we installed it, we make sure our editor understands where to find it, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll do that same command where I did Python -- version. Set up successfully. Good using Python. Cool. And so changes your disable length. Yeah, I think I'll just leave that. That looks good. Okay. So now one thing, and I know we do this, matter of fact, I'm almost kind of curious if I do it now, it still won't. And part of that is that you need to, I believe, close VS Code, right? You want to close VS Code and then open it again. As a matter of fact, I probably want to go ahead and put VS Code over here, but I haven't done it yet. So this would be like pinned to the taskbar. That way I always have it. And so let's see if now that I've installed it, cool. Well, again, I need to change this default. I could go to settings, but let's say Python, and it might be Python 3. Let's see. Version. Oh, good. So that's part of it, is you just install it and you restart the editor if you already have it started, and that way you know you have it installed, which is awesome. Okay, now the other thing I recommend using is an extension. They've recently changed this, but I'm going to go over here to extensions. Matter of fact, it's listed already, mostly because I probably just installed Python, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and click in here, and I'm going to install this. This is just really nice because basically it gives you almost everything we saw on Replit. I can't make you install this, so really this is just me telling you how my setup will look. But I'm going to go ahead and install this particular extension. You can see 41 million people have installed this. It's very high rated. It's from Microsoft, so it kind of makes sense that we do that. So now once I've installed it, I believe it already also enabled itself, because it looks like here I would disable it. Let's see if this is true. Okay. Let's see. One of the things I'm a little out of my comfort just because I've used. Oh, good. So it also did update to the latest one as well. Oh, good. Okay, so just to confirm that that did indeed, and it looks like here it is enabled. Okay, so I have the Python installed and I have the Python extension in VS Code ready to go. So I'm ready to do the next step. And I can show you throughout the course some of the nice things that you get here, like syntax highlighting. Also, I recommend using a linter. I recommend the standard I use to code to with Python. And I'll show you this just as an FYI is PEP 8. And this was actually recommended last semester by a student, and I really started liking it. It's this coding style for Python code. And I'll show you how, once we get the folder set up, how to enable this in your extension. Okay, so I'll do that in a minute. So this at least gives you this part, this step that you need to do, which is install these two. Again, this shouldn't be hardly any different on the Mac side or even on the Linux side, but if you need some extra help, reach out and we'll make sure we hopefully get you what you need.